Okay, this is quite an interesting question from Nord. If we mimic lion calls and hippo calls very well, will we not be attacked by lions and hippos when we encounter them in safari? Can we communicate with animals if we mimic the calls very well? And it's actually quite an interesting one. As much as we might try and mimic sounds, it depends on the sound that you mimic. If you just mimic the sound of something dying, for instance, that's more likely to draw a predator in. If you're very good at mimicking, say, the lions have pretty much heard it all before, I think, especially the lions if they're around. I think it's one of those that people do try, and as I say, I think the lions kind of get bored with that. But they recognise each other, and they recognise true individuals. And if you try and say, like, play their own calls back to them, they may kind of just look, but they won't react because they're actually hearing themselves. I think that's got a lot to do with it. But if you play another line from somewhere else, then you're more likely to get a reaction, and it has to be a line recording. If you try and do the line, they seem to be able to tell the difference. I don't know if it's the quality of the voice, maybe it's something extra in their voice that we don't hear, maybe the vibrations that obviously you can't really recreate, but there is something that they just know that it's not a real lion. But as I say, if you mimic the sounds of something dying, that's more likely to get their attention. But they won't really attack you because obviously they'll be able to see, hold on a minute, it's coming from a vehicle, or it's, there's something not right with it. But if they're further away, if they can't see what's going on, you may actually get the lions coming in to see what's going on. With the hippos, I'd like to think that they replied to me, but I don't think they would have done, because the hippos, again, if you watch, they only call when they're in the water. I've never seen or heard a hippo call out of water, and part of that again is the vibrations of the water, and they do communicate a lot underwater, and there's actually a lot of research going in about hippos underwater and the research and the communication. And there's a lot of sounds that we don't hear above the water that go on below, like clicking and snorting and pulse clicks and all this sort of thing. And they do actually have the hairs on the chin. And if you think about the way your ear works, you also have hairs in your ear. And every time the hair hits the ear, it moves the hair backwards and forwards. And it's the same with the water ripples. So if you have the vibrations in the water, the hairs move backwards and forwards, and there's actually research being done on to see whether the hairs on a hippo's chin actually helps them in some way to hear. So it's not actually been confirmed yet, I just know that there's research being done on it. But it would make sense. But yeah, we shall see. But very much so that at least there is sounds under the water that they will be hearing. So again, I won't be able to recreate the vibrations in the water that the hippos are actually making. But I have had hippos call back once when I've done it. Not too sure why. It could have possibly been the fact that we were just sat there so long. It could have been any number of reasons. I think it was just perfect timing, to be honest. But I think I've done it once where the hippos actually called back out of 15, 20 times that I've tried it. So I don't think it's a really good ratio, really, to say, yes, the hippo was calling back to me. But you never know. Maybe I just got the pitch right or something. But hopefully that answers your question, Nord. And it's definitely not a dumb question. No question is dumb. And it's always great to have questions from you. And you actually start to make us think of things that we don't necessarily think of. And it gives us inspiration of things to talk about. So questions are always great. And even if you think it's a dumb question, you can guarantee there'll be others thinking exactly the same thing, but are not really bold enough to ask the question. So definitely always send questions in. But thanks for joining me, as I say, and do enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. And if you are watching the dam, then, as I say, one of us is going to be around. But I'm just going to try and find some ways and means to make a cup of tea. And I might be joining you again in a short while or later on in the day. But do enjoy, everybody, and thanks again. Take care, have a great sleep or a great day.